Suddenly the rules can change when you're in lockdown. Nothing is in your control at all. The only thing that's in your control is what you do on the field. So we're not bothered at all about the table or the things that are going on the outside. For some things there's no logic. For some things you can have a debate for hours and as much as you want, but the only thing that you can control as a side to an extent is playing good cricket.
So that is Virat Kohli talking after the second test of the ongoing series against England about the World Test Championship table, the state of which he's clearly not happy about. Having won the pink ball test in Ahmedabad, India have knocked England out of the running for the Test Championship final. But they still need to avoid defeat in the final test of the series to make it themselves. An England win would mean Australia go through to play New Zealand, who have already qualified. When the Test Championship was announced, the plan was to have each team play 6 series over 2 years, 3 at home and 3 away. There would be 120 points at stake in each series. If a side could not complete their 6 series in time, then the unplayed tests would get scored as draws, which fetch each team 1/3 the available points from a test. So that would mean a side would get just 40 points for any series they had not completed in the Test Championship window. Then the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and it became clear that many sides would not be able to complete their 6 series before the cut-off date, which is March 31st, 2021. The BCCI suggested scrapping the competition altogether, but the ICC decided to proceed with an amendment to the rules.
We had to assess whether the way in which the finishing positions were determined was fair, and we decided to make a change based on the matches that teams actually play and the percentage of points they win from those matches. And that is to adjust for teams that may not be able to complete all of their series by the end of the competition window. Teams will earn points as they have been up until now, but that number will be divided by the maximum number of points available from the matches they actually play. So it'll be expressed as a percentage, and that will be used to determine the finishing positions.
The new rules changed things significantly, as now teams that could not complete their series could be either at an advantage or disadvantage, depending on whether their incomplete series were home or away and the strength of the opposition. Take Australia for example. They played just 4 series in the WTC window, 3 of which were at home, and they accumulated 336 points, which became 332 after a 4-point deduction for a slow over rate. The series they did not complete were away ones in Bangladesh and South Africa. Going by the original rules, Australia would have got just 40 points each for those series, so they would have had a total of 412 points, which would have put both India and England well ahead of them in the table. Similarly, New Zealand, who have a series in Bangladesh unplayed, would have been on 460 points under the original rules. That would have put them behind India and given England the chance to surpass them with a win in the final test against India. However, with the change in rules, both Australia and New Zealand's points are being calculated as a percentage of the total points available from games they've played, which means they could both end up in the final at Lord's in June. England and India, if they don't end up qualifying for the final, could well argue that Australia and New Zealand would not have scored points in the same ratio had they played their away series, which is what Virat Kohli appears to be upset about. A global pandemic does require adjustments of everyone though, and the good news is that should India win the final test against England, all controversy will be averted, as the 2 teams who would have gone through to the final under the original rules will still be the ones qualifying even after the amendment.